Amidst the jewels, glitter, TikTok videos, and screaming fans that make up Taylor Swift's acclaimed Eras tour, the world-renowned artist is receiving backlash from Swifties over her alleged relationship with 1975 singer Matty Healy, according to Rolling Stone. Swifties detailed their concerns about Healy's alleged controversies in a letter on Twitter. They wrote, from engaging in racist remarks, making offensive jokes, and admitting to watching degrading pornography in which people of color are being humiliated and assaulted, his actions contribute to the perpetuation of hate, stereotypes, and objectification, which targets and hurts some people from the Jewish, Black, Chinese, Hawaiian, Inuit, LGBTQ+ communities, as well as women. But, Rolling Stone writes, we wouldn't be having this conversation if Taylor Swift were a man.
Healy has been under fire for discourse he was involved in when he appeared on an episode of the Adam Friedland show in February. Let's listen.
Ice Spice, you know who that is?
Nick doesn't know who it is.
She's like
one of the Spice Girls.
Yes, that's
she's
right.
like this rapper.
She's the rapper
that
from
has
the Spice
one-
Girls.
Inuit Spice Girl. Just this chubby Chinese lady. Yeah, I rap that music. Do they talk like that? Do Inuits talk like that?
They don't talk with a Chinese
They
accent.
talk like a more Hawaiian style.
Bungwa.
yeah, more
Yeah,
Hawaiian.
yeah.
Welcome to Hawaii.
At a concert in New Zealand in April, Healy told the audience, quote, "I'm kind of a bit sorry if I've offended you," in reference to the Ice Spice remarks. But in a new profile in The New Yorker from a few days ago, Healy told the New Yorker writer, "But it doesn't actually matter. Nobody is sitting there at night slumped at their computer and their boyfriend comes over and goes, 'What's wrong, darling?' And they just go, 'It's just this thing with Matty Healy.' That doesn't happen." When the reporter responded, "Maybe it does," Healy said, "If it does, you're either deluded or you are, sorry, a liar." So, seems like a great guy. That's where I come from, is we're going to get a great album out of this because there's no way this ends well. Because even if he's doing this all as some kind of satirical bit, what kind of insufferable person makes this their satirical bit? I don't know. I don't think it's going to end well. I don't have an appreciation for this kind of satire, if that's what it is.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be my first choice of a person to date, but I do think the outrage from Swifties is pretty overwrought. I mean, the girl just got out of a 6-year relationship. She's going through a tough breakup. Of course, she's going to rebound with somebody who's a little uncouth and pretty much the exact opposite of her previous boyfriend, Joe Alwyn, who was basically considered by her fans to be too perfect and too boring. Now she has a guy who kind of loves public attention, wants to be seen with her, and is a little bit on the edgy side. Now, I do think that the people who are basically accusing him of being some right-wing Nazi are totally out of line. This is a guy who has multiple songs singing about supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. By all measures, he's pretty much a pro-social justice, left-wing kind of guy who just likes pushing boundaries when it comes to humor. So this whole open letter nonsense from her fans is just sort of parasocial nonsense, I think.
Yeah, I think he's likely doing a bit, but I don't find it funny. Like, I don't have a problem with pushing the boundaries of what you say in public, especially for the sake of comedy. I'm all for that. But the way Matty Healy does it, he looks like the guy from the Flushed Away movie, and he has a bit where he says that that's the guy. And as a Swiftie, and moreover as a Gaylor, there is a trope that women always pick a guy, if they're bi, that looks like the guy from Flushed Away. He kind of looks like that cartoon character. So I'm not a big Matty Healy fan. However, there is that element of like, this is a very successful woman being made to answer for her partner, who is this guy from the 1975 who likely never sought to seek this level of celebrity. He wanted to play his music and say his silly, sometimes racist things. Now he's under such scrutiny and we're making her answer for it. I don't support making Taylor answer for Matty Healy's comments whatsoever.
Yeah, it's weird. It reminds me of a lot of the political debate and conversation that people have with spouses, for example, who differ on the political spectrum, like the Conways. The media was constantly trying to have Kellyanne respond to her now, I guess, ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband George Conway's tweets where he opposed Trump. And it's just kind of gross to constantly be trying to create these divisive lines between spouses or people who are in a romantic relationship, especially when you don't know the circumstances of it. I mean, the idea that her fans have some special insight into what she's thinking about all of this, if they've had a conversation about it, or if from their perspective that Taylor apparently supports all of this and has no problem with it, they're just projecting their own feelings and insecurities on their favorite star. And I just find this to be a really toxic part of stan culture, where people try to get their celebrities that they like to agree with every like moralistic virtue that they espouse, and it ends up creating this impossible bar for them to live up to, and also creates this sort of unrealistic persona for celebrities that makes it more difficult for them to relate to average people, or for average people to relate to them.
Yeah, I think it's a sickness that there are some people that are in the public eye because they're entertainers, because they genuinely enjoy providing music for other people to listen to or telling jokes that make them laugh. And the public getting so invested in these figures' personal lives doesn't make sense to me. The projection of their own insecurities and values onto celebrities has been a problem for quite some time. There is also this element of the human experience where we want to understand ourselves better. So then we analyze the common figures that we all know of. I can see that. And so to do that, if you are a Swiftie, and there's a group of Swifties who have said, we don't support you dating this man, Taylor, here's all of the terrible things he has said. I have literally never in my life seen a public figure who is a man have to answer for the political opinions or statements of his partner who is a woman. And so it seems like a double standard to me. Even if you don't like Matty Healy and you don't agree with what he said, don't make Taylor answer for it. It's just not the right place. Not only that, but they haven't even publicly said they're an item yet. Like, let Taylor breathe. She's giving us the Eras tour. She just went through a breakup. Out of respect for her, let her finish her tour. Let her process the breakup. Let her date this guy that is probably not so good for her for a little bit. Get the great album out of it. Consume the entertainment. Don't insert yourself in her life. I think that would make everybody happy and we can all have a good time.
Exactly. It's also funny to watch how the Swifties are basically twisting themselves into knots about what to do with their concert tickets. I saw this really long tweet thread from one of them the other day who was basically going from acknowledging her privilege as a white woman who could get a Taylor Swift concert ticket to eventually admitting that she would not be selling it or not going to the concert because, of course, she wants to be able to actually go see the Eras tour, but just couldn't, I guess, accept that she had all of these problems with her dating Matty Healy, but not, I guess, having big enough of a problem with it to not go to the tour. They really are trying to justify, I guess, their continued financial support of her, even though they supposedly find her values despicable. And I think that plays into what Matty Healy was saying in that New Yorker article, which in the end of the quote, he essentially says that these people are virtue signaling. They're trying to prove how good they are by acknowledging how bad he supposedly is. And it's this larger trend of people on the internet trying to find a common enemy to rally around to prove that they are the virtuous ones. And it's what's led to our modern cancel culture and the idea that people are constantly beholden to things they did 10, 20 years ago and have no ability to grow. And now, obviously, what Matty Healy has said is recent, so this is a bit of a different situation, but it's the same kind of posturing from people who suppose that they're the moral betters of anyone who says anything that they don't quite like or maybe disagree with.
I think the most interesting layer of this whole debacle is that Taylor Swift and Ice Spice just announced the Karma remix together. They just released it. They didn't announce it. They said it's happening, and then it happened shortly after. So I don't know how I feel about that, right? Ice Spice is at the center of this controversy with Matty Healy. Taylor Swift then releases a song with her and is on stage with her performing the remix to the song Karma. I don't know how I feel about all of this. Was this some kind of thing where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to publicly fight back against Matty Healy or start a beef if you give me some of your fans and we do a collab song together. Like, maybe it was that kind of like PR move trade that we see that's very common in the industry.
Yeah, it could be. I did see some fans speculating that Taylor was doing this to try to mute some of the criticism. I guess it's also possible that Ice Spice maybe wasn't as offended by this as people are acting on her behalf. But I'm certainly interested to see where this relationship goes and how long it ends up lasting, because rebounds don't typically end too well. We'll be back with more Rising after this.